Welcome to GEO-NA Frontlines, the official podcast of GEO-NA TV, where world events are dissected with precision, depth, and non-ideological filters. I'm your host Faiza, and today we are honored to join by someone who doesn't just comment on geopolitics, rather he shapes the way we're going to understand it. So Syed Farrukh Hussain Sb is with us. He's a veteran thinker and the voice behind this platform. His unmatched clarity, historical awareness, and strategic depth have actually helped thousands navigate the chaos of this power politics. So, in this episode, we are going to unpack a flashpoint often oversimplified, and that is Iran, Israel, and America triad. So, a complex conflict where ideology, deterrence, and resistance all converge. So we aim to understand the architecture of power, not to take a side. Welcome and Assalamu alaikum, sir. It's good to have you, and there's a lot that we are going to explore today.
Faiza, it's a pleasure having you. And let's hope we explore this. And let's suppose it resonates with our viewers. Okay, what we'll try to do is bring facts. We will not
True.
bring any uh, unfair, not news, fake news. We'll avoid that. We will stick to written facts as shown in credible media, and from
Yeah.
there deduce what are the outcomes. For example, I
Thank you
don't
so
know.
much, sir. And that's
For
the
example,
reason I've used the word non-ideological filters, and this is what this channel is going to about. So, sir,
for
if
example,
we talk
okay,
about the
one one second. For example, अगर जंग लगने लगी है तो मैं encourage करूंगा अपनी बहनों को कि वो 1.5 तोला की टिक्की लेकर रख लें, क्योंकि उसके बाद it will become more expensive and they would make some money off it.
this tip
Yes.
is going to be one of the most useful one for them. Yeah.
Of course.
Relevance well for the audience, yeah. So, sir, talking about this very, oversimplified, I would rather say this. So, is like a direct Iran-Israel US war now inevitable? Because if we are going to witness, we were already witnessing a shadow war. There are airstrikes, economic warfare. So the question is that a full-scale direct war is inevitable, or is it just something sustained on a low-intensity level? What do you think about this?
Acha. I'll explain one thing, how
Mhm.
Israel and USA wages war against countries and against
Mhm.
organizations. One of the prior history, if you look at it, if you look at the prior
Mhm.
history, what they have used is called the octopus doctrine. Octopus doctrine starts by
Mhm.
eliminating the leadership of that country, but that's
Okay.
preceded by Israeli and Western agents penetrating to the depth of the organization or the country, and then they kill off all the major shakers and makers and all the leadership in that country. The next
Mhm.
phase in that war normally is, and if you've seen it in Hezbollah, you've seen it in Hamas, is they bomb. And they bombed so much that the people on the other side, if they can't sleep
Mhm.
for a month, they become so tired, so they're more likely to make mistakes. And then they move to the
Mhm.
other stage, where their
Right.
special forces land and they carry out operations to eliminate what the rest of that organization or country. However, now coming back to where it is right now, there have been
Mhm.
explosions already in Iran. If you look at the news
Okay.
reports,
Yes, exactly.
Iranians sometimes say, "Gee, LPG cylinder phat gaya." But between us and we know that during this
Mhm.
war, Israeli special ops and Mossad agents were on the ground in Iran. And I don't think they've gone back. Now, one of the things which they look at कि ये war की ceasefire क्यों हुई? One of the
Mhm.
reasons driving this is Iran started out the ballistic missiles attacks and drone attacks with about 2,500 ballistic missiles. Now we're being realistic, which is correct. They fired about 1,500, and Israel ran out of interceptors. They got 20,000 interceptors, but they
Mhm.
could not keep firing. And Iran was very clever enough to evade some of that and inflict a lot of losses on the Israel. However, those losses mainly were on the civilian side. Okay. However, for Jews, losing one civilian is hell of a lot because it's only a country of 9 million, while Iran is a country of 90 million. So they've asked for a pause, and Trump, thinking after his bombing campaign, because they really did a lot of damage to the Iranian nuclear facilities. I mean, no matter how you look at it, they killed all the top leadership. Then the ones who replaced them, they killed them also. And the Iranians held mass grave Fatiha for 60 people, all top. So obviously the Israelis had complete air superiority with the Americans. They did a lot of damage. Okay, so now they asked for a ceasefire because Israel ran out of interceptors because they didn't want to lose any more civilians. So now where are we at? Now, one of the things which is happening is, if you look at the news, and I think we shared some of that, Iran said they're willing to talk to the Americans provided there is no more attacks. That
from both sides, or it's like from the both sides, right?
They're asking from both America and Israel.
Yeah, exactly.
टैक्स नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है, मगर वो जो सा, those people will not like that, and even if they agree, they will violate it.
They are going to violate, yes, for sure, for sure.
Even asking for this is probably their way of saying मैं ना मानूं. अच्छा, इसमें one other thing which has come in this one is Putin has said no enrichment. ये deal कर लो Iran. Iran, please do the deal without enrichment. Iran is saying no deal without enrichment. और enrichment पे मामला अड़ा हुआ है. अच्छा. अब वो कहते हैं जब मान लेते हैं, what happens? You think just by saying it and they will believe this really pious set of people that they will go along with it? No. They will send in inspectors. They will send in Western people who are going to come in there. They're going to verify it. कुछ चीज बची कुछ ही होगी, उसको उड़ाएंगे धमाके के साथ. अब वो एक ह्यूमिलिएशन होगी ईरान की. Now, अब एक चीज इसमें याद रखना है, जो भी लड़ाई होती है, Americans and Israeli troops cannot land in Persia, in Iran.
Yeah.
Okay. America has about 50,000 troops in the area, but they are not going to commit them to go into Iran. Iran has over 500,000 troops. ठीक है?
Yes.
तो जो कुछ भी मर्जी हो वो, they will do a lot of damage. So basically, what the Americans will try is, the next step is they will not allow Iran to go forward with enrichment.
So, sir, you know, okay. So, if we talk about this thing by looking at what.
Yeah, there's one thing you remember. Iran had up over 400 kgs of enriched uranium, up to 60%. Now, Iranians, after this fire, they themselves said कि हमारा वो बच गया, हमने निकाल लिया है. You know.
Yeah, they said this. There was this statement.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that because that is enough to make 8 to 9 nuclear bombs. Americans, Israelis will rather deal with Iran with 8 to 9 bombs rather deal with them with 120 bombs or 200 bombs down the road. They don't want to go to this stage. In that, they don't know how much of it is trapped inside Fodor, the site with thousands of enrichments. How much is nikal liya? They don't know. But because they said in nikal liya, they will also want proof कि कहाँ है, अगर वो मान जाते हैं. So it is such a very touchy point. और Iran move नहीं कर रहा. Go ahead.
Sir, yeah, so if we take it further, so what do you think real end game for Iran? Is it like regime change, containment, or fragmentation? What exactly is going to happen between these trials? What do you think?
Now, if you look at Israel, they would want an Iran which is non-threatening to Israel. Well, what does that mean? It's a country which will not have missiles, which will have Israel in the target. Okay, range enough to target Israel. One, they will also want Iran not to use its proxies in Iran, in Iraq. They call it proxies, you call it brothers. Okay, we call it brothers.
Yeah,
We or they call it.
true.
Hamas, Hezbollah, the Alawites, Shia community in Syria, they don't want, Israel doesn't want them to use them against them. So they want an Iran which is not a threat to Israel or to America interest. In this, there's also other countries like Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Central Asian states who don't want Iran to be nuclear also. And at the same time, even Azerbaijan has had bad relations with Iran and they've threatened to fight with each other. So what they would want is also Iran to be cut to size a little bit.
But so
Now,
isn't it like nuclear? Isn't it a hypocrisy from nuclear point of view that a state who is being declared as a terrorist by numerous states who have been registered in UN, still they claim to be equipped with nuclear power, but rather on the other end, they don't want the person just because he has his religious ideology, they don't want to be equipped. So isn't it like both sides same way? Because ये तो फिर ये है कि हाँ तुम नहीं कर
well,
सकते, we with all our might can do
I
it.
will translate your question. A Jewish religious state can have nuclear weapons, but a Shia militant Islamic state like Iran cannot have nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's hypocrisy. Yeah.
now, okay, hypocrisy it is. All right, now, but there's one thing which the Iranians did, which made their case very weak. There is a treaty called Non-Proliferation Treaty. If you sign that,
What's the time? Yeah.
you're allowed all access to all the world's technology in nuclear power. They did sign it. And this four-door facility was built in secret in direct violation of that treaty.
Okay,
So
so
Iran,
sir, I just have one thing to say. Sorry to cut you. So the couple of treaties being signed by Israel in UN being violated again and again, but there's no narrative being presented against them. But when there's this one treaty which is going to actually equip Iran for their self-defense is being scrutinized, why is it so?
yeah, I think you can make all the case. Poor Iran, they're so right. You can make the case कि ओ आयतोल्ला बेचारे छोड़ दिया उनको, उन पर जुल्म हो रहा है, उनकी भी वही राइट्स हैं जो इजराइल की हैं. But at the end of the day, they are not Israel, and they don't have that power internationally. They are secluded as a state. So that is why they cannot project their soft power. And soft power, all of Europe is not geopolitically insignificant right now. All of the Arabs are geopolitically insignificant. We finish. There are only two countries here who are geopolitically significant. Pakistan, after the India conflict. Even India is no longer geopolitically significant. So making a righteous case for Iran is not going to get them anything. उनको फैंटी पढ़नी है और फैंटी फिर पड़ेगी. All right?
But
Nothing
so
can.
what good is that? I was just wondering what good is that influence when we talk about Israel? If we even going to look at from an objective point of view, that the kind of threat to human life they are being doing to their neighbors, they're not being good. If you want to say that, fine, they are equipped with a nuclear weapon, but they're being very good with people. The kind of human violation they have done in Palestine is, I guess, a clear example that they don't deserve to be there where they are in terms of the nuclear equipped. So
I
they can't
think
expect the same thing from Iran.
Faizan, whether you expect Israel expects it or not, and they violated every treaty in the world. No, I don't want to go further than that because I'll come across as anti-Semitic. Okay, and this is not channel is not about declaring Iran is right and Israel is wrong. We can pursue this, not a problem. But at the end of the day, the world powers, even the United Nations, put sanctions on Iran, which included Russia as well as China. So these are things which were not liked by Russia and Iran and China or the Iranian behavior. Now, that introspection has not occurred on their part because they feel they're righteous. That's the big problem. Israelis feel they're righteous too. All right? And they derive the power from God. अब आप और मैं उसमें तो कुछ भी नहीं है, हम तो घास की मूली भी नहीं है उसमें. So I think we can drop that, we can go back to what is coming. Now, if Iran agrees on no enrichment and inspections, बड़े deep inspections हो गए, then they will have peace. But eventually, these guys will do to them what they did in Libya. याद है लिबिया में क्या किया था? लिबिया में भी यही गए थे और उन्होंने उसके बाद और उसको बिल्कुल स्प्लिट कर दिया into a civil war. यहाँ civil war नहीं होगी. यहाँ they would want parts of Iran going into friendly hands, which I think for us to explore would be a little bit beyond right now. Friendly hands means a Gulf of Hormuz not in the hand of the Persians, okay? Because they keep threatening to shut it down. Now, how the conflict unfolds will determine what endgame it becomes. Now, one, the fight starts and the powers to be in Tehran decide to shut the straits down. Gulf of Hormuz Straits. It's between a small part between UAE, geographically explain kar raha hu, and Iran. It's like a wedge, it comes up there. It's 30 kilometers the waterway है. अगर उन्होंने set किया और move किया, this would be diagrammatically against the interest of all the countries in the region. Let me explain to you. आज हम बैठे हैं ना, हम बात कर रहे हैं. After 6 weeks of Iranian, let's say 1 month of Iranian shut down the straits, हमारे government के पास पैसे नहीं होंगे to run this power on which we are talking to each other. You will not, these guys just came from their offices, will not have petrol to put it in their cars. Your poor people will not have LPG to cook. You will not have CNG, which comes from Qatar. Okay? You will not have a lot of things. At that stage, when you're that deprived, people will do a lot of different things. Okay?
So, sir,
then there's Turkey also. They also have the same issue, but they stand with Azerbaijan. Okay? All right? Now,
so sir, talking about these countries, so you have just mentioned about China and Russia as well, the stance that they have. So, will China and Russia actually back Iran, or they are going to abandon it strategically? What's your
fantastic question? Okay. Now, first I'll say what they're going to do. They are going to provide. They just completed a rail link between China coming to Central Asia. It's also connected to the rail network of Russia. They have that rail network. Okay. They will supply them equipment and let the Iranians fight it out as long as they want to. But at the end of the day, Russia and China don't want Iran to do enrichment. Turkey does not want them to do enrichment. Central Asia don't want them to do enrichment. All the Arab countries don't want them to do enrichment.
Sir, what about Pakistan? Pakistan is also sharing the same narrative?
I'll take what is in the American called the Fifth Amendment. If I answer it, I'll incriminate myself. Okay? I would say we have one nuclear Modi on that side. He can do a lot of stuff for his God. Now, we don't want another one on this side. Not a good idea. So I would say no. But it's not in Pakistan's interest that Iran goes nuclear.
Okay. So, sir, as we just...
Okay, now the help which Chinese and Iranian and the Russians will give. Iran is so penetrated by Westerns and Mossad, Israeli intelligence, that any high-tech equipment otherwise they give them, which they will all gain access to it. So they will not give them the top-of-the-line equipment to Iran. And secondly, that equipment comes with a lot of training. अगर रशिया उनको S-400 देता है, उसके सारे सीक्रेट्स तो इजराइल उठा के ले जाएगा। अभी वो तो अपने आर्मी चीफ को नहीं बचा सकते, उनका अपना प्राइम मिनिस्टर वाज वुंडेड ड्यूरिंग द अटैक, लास्ट में उसको लगी है। जहां वो बैठा है, किस वक्त बैठा है, कहाँ बैठा है, किसके साथ बैठा है प्रेसिडेंट, वहां जाकर उन्होंने बम मार दिया। अब मुझे बताओ, ऐसे मुल्क को आप हथियार देते हुए कैसे लगते हैं टॉप ऑफ द लाइन? आप नहीं देंगे टॉप ऑफ द लाइन, आप देंगे वो जो उनको पता है और हमें पता है। उनको पता है, इरानियंस को पता है, अमेरिकन को पता है, बट द हाई टेक लाइक चाइनीज आर्म पाकिस्तान वो नहीं करेंगे। और करेंगे
Acha,
तो
so,
yeah,
sir,
they would
Pakistan, basically, you're talking about Pakistan, and you have actually shared the narrative, which actually makes sense. So, how will a wider conflict impact Pakistan, especially if the Strait of the Hormuz, God forbid, closes? What
well,
is going to happen then?
let me say this, try to do it. Agar Iran moves towards shutting down the Straits of Hormuz, there's only two countries who can intervene, who have the capacity to come in and nullify it by ground force. सिर्फ दो मुल्क हैं.
Turkey and Pakistan?
Definitely not Azerbaijan. Definitely not Turkmenistan.
Not Azerbaijan.
Definitely not any of
Turkey
the Arabs.
also.
Definitely
Arabs
not.
can't do it.
Arabs couldn't even handle Yemen. They got.
Yeah, they can't. It's beyond their capacity. Yeah.
It's definitely not Afghanistan. Okay.
Yes.
So I leave the rest to your imagination, who it can be. All right. Now, will it happen? And the answer is they are going to be pushed by both the Americans and the Chinese to do it. Because
China
the Chinese,
as well.
what China की आपने oil तेल रोक लिया, वो बर्दाश्त करेंगे?
Exactly. They are going to be China.
पूरी इंडस्ट्री आपने बिठा के रख दी. 40% of the global GDP runs on in China. और वो आपने बंद करके रख दी बिकॉज आपको स्टेट्स ऑफ हार्मोज बंद करने थे. पाकिस्तानियों के भी बड़ा गर्क हुआ होगा यहाँ. ठीक है
सर, अगर हम इसी सिचुएशन को लें जिसके बारे में आप अभी बोल रहे हैं, सो व्हाट कैन एक्चुअली पाकिस्तान डू? लेट्स सपोज इट्स हैपनिंग, गॉड forbid. So what can Pakistan do actually to minimize this damage or even gain more strategic leverage?
I think that is something which I will let the people in the right circles answer that question at that time. But my own feeling is Straits of Hormuz and the Sistan province, if it were not in Iranian hands, we would see peace. And from TTP, their funding and training, we would see peace and the end of BLA. We would see all that. तो हमें बड़े फायदे हैं कि वहाँ एक friendly non-Iranian regime आ जाए, all the way up to the Kuwait border. Okay.
So you are actually hinting towards regime change?
No, I can't. That is something which people who do software updates can do.
That's your analysis. You're just like.
Yeah, no, I don't want to go there. But if these areas fall in non-Persian areas, non-Iran areas, हमारा सुख चैन आ जाएगा, हमारी सारी टेररिज्म खत्म हो जाएगी. Okay. और अगर आ जाता है फ्रेंडली हैंड्स में, तो यहाँ से पाइपलाइन आराम से बना के हम चाइना को पकड़ा देंगे, हमें वो ट्रांजिट राइट दे देंगे, तो सबका फायदा हो जाएगा. ओके. सो वो अगर होता है तो पाइपलाइन पर सैंक्शंस भी नहीं लगेंगे. वेस्टर्न वो बनी हुई है, सिर्फ 1 मील का रह गया बॉर्डर पे जो लगाना है वो लगाएं.
सो ये एनर्जी डाइवर्सिफिकेशन एक्चुअली न्यू अलायंसेस की तरफ रूट होगी फिर.
द रीजन आप एक चीज याद रखें, अगर चीन को पाकिस्तान के थ्रू तेल मिलता है, they save themselves over $100 billion a year, and it only takes from here. अगर वो क्लास 8 ट्रक से भी लेके जाएं टैंकर, तो यहाँ से वहां पहुंचते हुए उनका तेल का वो तकरीबन 6 दिन में कर लेंगे. Whereas मलाक्का स्ट्रेट से लेके जाते हैं, वो इंडिया के नीचे से पीछे सिंगापुर वो कर 38 डेज लगते हैं. और वो अमेरिका उनके सड़क पे बैठा हुआ है, इंडिया भी बैठा हुआ है. So the Chinese prefer from here, and that's what CPEC is all about.
Yeah, that's what CPEC is all about.
You see.
Thank you so much, sir. It was actually, it has actually, opened a few other conversations that can actually lead to a couple of other episodes, and especially for the things that you have mentioned, that what might come next. So thank you so much. And before that, we are going to leave, sir. What is that you actually want the thinkers or the viewers to, strategically ponder regarding this whole scenario? What is
First
your
thing I would
advice?
say for those of you who joined us now, uh, events like this is also an opportunity to make money. Okay. So one of the ways to make money is during the war, just like now, Iran is buying dollars from Pakistan. So the result is we've gone up to about 290, where it's sitting is about 280. So $10 का फर्क है. So अगर ये आगे चलता है, कोई महीने के लिए लड़ाई और होती है, तो dollar may go up little bit. The second one is insecurity में gold price goes up. So अगर आप सोचते हैं कि मैंने बात सही की है, एक आध तोला लेकर रख लें, आपको हो जाएगा, या ज्यादा से ज्यादा आप दे दें, $100-200 लेकर रख लें, बच्चों की मिठाई निकल आएगी. So that'll be my game. Now, खुदा करे कि ये लड़ाई ना हो, क्योंकि बहुत मुसलमानों का नुकसान होगा. और अगर होती है तो रैशनल रहे लड़ाई करने वाले. अगर रैशनल ना रहे, so then it'll invite basically interventions of geostrategic proportion. We can pick it up another time in another podcast to do that. And I'm worried because Pakistan, remember one thing, there are three kinds of people, three kinds of countries. Countries which make things happen, countries which watch things happen, and countries to whom things happen. We don't want to be in the third category.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
And I guess the best thing that you've just said by wrapping it up, that whatever the entire scenario of this geopolitics is going to be, we need to stay rational, because rational decisions are going to actually ensure peace all around. And then that is the core of the entire essence of this conversation. And thank you so much, sir, for your time. It was quick and brief, and I'm sure that we need more episodes like this, because one episode is not going to be enough for this. And for the viewers, with thinkers like Syed Farrukh Hussain Sahab, we begin to unpack those illusions actually and reclaim the conversations which at times are going to be provoking for others, but what we believe and what is the ideology of Syed Farrukh Hussain Sahab, that while talking about or while doing the analysis of geopolitics, one should actually go towards the bigger diversification to have new alliances and rational decisions. So we have moved beyond theory actually. It's not just a geopolitical triage, it's rather Iran's future or Israel's aggression or Americans in trust are already colliding. So the biggest smart question, I guess, before leaving, we are going to leave the viewers for that. For Pakistan is no longer who wins. It is how do we survive what comes next. So see you again with another inspiring episode. Till then, Allah Hafiz and take care.
Thank you, Faiza. Pleasure being with you.
Thank you. Celebration. Likewise.
Okay.